Hi vlog, welcome back to another video. I want to share something that was supposed to happen today and didn't, and why this supposedly uneventful day ended up being still eventful. So I was supposed to go today to the Shiva of Hersh Goldberg. He was a hostage that was murdered in captivity. He was there for 330 days, and I'll link down articles that you guys can read below. I work as a freelancer for All Israel News, and I'll also link for you guys their YouTube channel and their website that you can go and get non-biased news. I'm also there. And I offered to go to the Shiva because I wanted to cover it. And so I'll show you guys the progression of how my day started, and then we'll circle back. I am in Talpiot, which is the industrial area of Yerushalayim, and I'm on my way to the Shiva of Hersh Goldberg-Polin, which many of you probably know by now is one of the Israeli hostages of dual citizenship. He was an American and an Israeli, and he was kidnapped. He was taken hostage from the Nova Festival in Reim, and he was in captivity 330 days until he was murdered there. So it's beyond, like, I don't know how to even explain like what I feel going there, but also it's not like this is a normal Shiva, because it's not a person I know, but it's a person that became well known, and his family became well known because of the awareness that they brought to him as a hostage. And you have the opportunity to meet the family for a few minutes. I don't know how many people will be there today because it's the last day in the morning. It's a work day here. I don't know what to expect. I was thinking in my head, if I do meet them, what do I say? So basically what had happened is that I miscalculated the time and we didn't get there on time. So the Shiva started on a Monday. In Jewish tradition, you mourn for 7 days. You don't mourn on the Sabbath because of the holiness of that day. But the whole point of it is that somehow I didn't calculate it correctly, that they stopped their mourning, or the Shiva, not on a Monday, like as if you count like 7 days, but actually today. And so they wrote a script for it. Part of it was supposed to be scripted and unscripted. And the cameraman came with his wife, and we're all supposed to, go in together. Of course, not filming inside out of respect. But I was too late, and I didn't get there on time. And the reason why that feels like a slap in the face isn't because, I didn't get to cover something that I wanted, but more that it almost felt like everything was too late. Like, we were too late in rescuing the hostages. We were too late in getting Hersh. The Shiva tent was, taken apart, and all the chairs and the umbrellas for shade and all the things that they had there, because Hersh became, and his family, public figures. And usually in Shivas, you have the home of the person that, has passed away, or their family, you go to their home. But because so many people have been supporting the Hersh family in trying to get Hersh back, they opened up the Shiva to everyone, and I didn't make it. And so Hersh was a 23-year-old young guy with his whole future ahead of him. He was American, Jewish, Israeli. And one day my younger sister, comes back home with a sign of Hersh, a bring them home sign. And I decided, like, together with her, that we'll put that, on my window to bring awareness. And walking around his neighborhood, you could see all these different, signs of Hersh, big ones, small ones. You would see little graffitis of Hersh. You would see the hostage posters that people put up. And everywhere you go, you would see, support of Hersh. And you think to yourself, okay, this is not the same, right? So the comparison almost isn't fair. But when I lost my father, and everyone sort of left after the Shiva, and suddenly you're left, once the dust settles and the fog clears, and suddenly you realize what you have to deal with now, it's so breathtakingly hard. And so arriving there and realizing that little lot designated in a public place for people to come and comfort the family, I'm sure there were times where they're just like, we just literally want to be at home and like sleep and not wake up for a long time and just not have to talk to anyone. But they stayed there, to receive the public, just like the public had supported them. But on that morning, while you take away all the physical and external symbols of that person's presence, or the presence of that person's mourning, what you have left with is, perhaps a building or two away, or a street or two away, that family is in mourning. Now they have to wake up after 11 months of fighting for Hersh, and suddenly they're not fighting in the same way anymore. I'm sure they will still fight for the other hostages, because that doesn't stop, the parents and the family. Anytime you would see them in public, they would have this sticker that they would just take, tape and put the number of days that the hostages are there, basically. And even at the funeral and even at the Shiva, they still had those stickers, because it didn't stop with Hersh. They want all the hostages home. That's one of the amazing and heartbreaking things about this hostage situation, is that when they hurt, we all hurt. Like Hersh is like a brother to many. He's like a son to many. He's like, he's a mentor to many. You guys can read down below all the things that Hersh was, and how he gave back to the community, being a mentor in a soccer or football team, with young children or teenagers. So now that Shiva is over, now that the public part of their grieving is over, how do you grieve behind closed doors? It's not a common tragedy. It's not a normal death. There's so many different facets to the cruelty of the issue, and how stretched and tormented the families of the hostages are. It's an impossible way to live when you don't know if your father, wife, grandfather, son, daughter are even alive in Gaza. And if they are, you don't know what they're going through. How do you start wrapping your head around what that even means? How do you grieve something that is so cruel? If you're a person of faith, or you want to send love their way, please do, because you look at them on the TV and on the screens, and you can tell that they're not only just exhausted, but they are strong, and they were strong for Hersh. And one of the things that the mother Rachel would always say, she would say, stay strong, survive. Like, we love you, stay strong, survive. And I saw a post of someone basically saying the same thing back to her, like, stay strong and survive. They became a symbol of strength, of how to go through this. And yet, in the process of grief, you are allowed to not be strong anymore. You are allowed to just bear your own heart before your own self, without public scrutiny, without anyone looking at you, and realizing that you lost a son, you lost a sibling. As of this moment, there's still 101 hostages still in Gaza, and it's assumed that only about a quarter of them are still alive. It's also assumed that Yahya Sinwar is surrounding himself with 22 hostages. We don't know if those are the remaining hostages. It's not super clear right now what's going on, but it also could be that they could have caught Yahya Sinwar and they can't extract him that easily because he's surrounding himself with hostages like a human shield, which is also one of the reasons why if you guys have been tracking the negotiations about the hostage deal, one of the clauses that he put in there was that if there is a hostage deal, that they aren't allowed to kill him if they find him, which shows you the heart of the matter. So all that to say, I felt like even though I wasn't there to see the family, greet them, meet them, grieve with the community of people, what ended up being a turning point in my heart is that feeling of I missed it. I wasn't on time, it was too late. And at the funeral of Hersh, his mom asked for forgiveness. They said, I'm sorry that I couldn't save you. I'm sorry that I couldn't get to you on time. Because just a day or a day and a half before they found the 6 hostages' bodies that were, by the way, just shot point blank in the head and shot in different places, he was still alive, and so were the other hostages. One of the hostages, Erin Yerushalmi, she was actually only 37 kilos, which is 77 pounds. Yeah, it's just unbelievably painful. This is the feeling that everyone is dealing with now, that we feel like we don't have that time. We've missed the time, and there are consequences to not getting there on time. If you're watching and you're a person of faith, again, please pray and spread awareness about these hostages, because there are still also American hostages for the Americans amongst us that people don't even know about. Many people didn't even know about Hersh, and they don't know about the other hostages that are still there, regardless of the fact that they're Israeli or not. The fact that they're American, they didn't even know that. So that is something that if you want to help and bring awareness to, feel free to. If you are new here, hi, you're welcome. If you hate me for the subject of this video, know that I don't hate you. I'm happy to start a conversation with you. I won't address accusations if you just want to spout out an accusation, but if you have legitimate questions or a legitimate debate and you want to talk, I'm willing. I'm not knowledgeable in everything, but I can tell you my perspective as someone who lives on the grounds here in Israel. If you are not new here and you're a friend, welcome back. I love you. I'm so happy you're here. And I'll see you guys in a vlog very soon, hopefully with a better, more pleasant subject.